beautiful. Very much excited for this amazing session that we are about to have. And of course, I mean, we are closing off the year. 2024 will be a thing of the past in just a few days or even hours. So definitely we have to now come down to understanding what are some of the things that we need to put in place even as we usher in the new year 2025. And what better conversation to have aside from career growth. And of course, we have the beautiful Sharon. She was here before, and oh my, she brought this house down with her wisdom and her intellect. And today we are talking about something totally different, and that is career growth. This is on our financial fitness segment, because even as we talk about finances and growing our money, we cannot put aside the aspect of career. So allow me to welcome my amazing, beautiful guest, Sharon, to the conversation. Hi.
Hi, Beatrice.
Good to have you again.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be back.
Yeah. It's always a pleasure having you. And I'm looking forward to this particular conversation. But before we begin, maybe you can introduce yourself, let the people know who you are.
So yeah, for the purposes of our audiences,
yes,
my name is Sharon Wandii. I'm a marketing and business leader with 10 years of working experience in the media industry and 3 years working for consulting firms, specifically in strategy, formulation, and execution. Besides that, I am a speaker.
Yeah.
I am a writer of songs. I'm also writing a book. And so I speak to inspire leadership, to inspire purpose and wellness. The last time we were here talking about wellness.
Yes.
Today we are here to touch on a topic that is very close to our hearts. And that's career growth. That's basically so much about me.
Yes.
Yeah, looking forward to having a good conversation.
Yeah. Yes. And I believe it's important because, growing up, even as children, the question is, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Precisely.
Yes. So it's a big thing. Yes. But even before we introduce what, in fact, career growth is, maybe we can talk about career in itself. What would you define career to be?
In very simple terms, as you're saying, when you're growing up, there's what you want to become. We are born and we grow into it.
Yes.
There's a structure, there's a system in place. So we do not land into a vacuum space. There are already structures, there are systems.
Yeah.
So from the time we are born, you'll hear small children. I personally was growing to become a doctor.
Wow.
That's what I wanted to become as a child. And I guess it's because it's a big profession. As a child, you want everything. There are no limitations when you're young. And so, this is what I wanted to grow into. And so career is that thing that you want to become. It's what you want to get skilled in. It's what you want to train yourself into. It's what you want to advance yourself into. And so that's what, in very basic terms, career is all about. It's the line that I am choosing to pursue. It's the line that I want to grow into.
Yeah. And you've mentioned something very interesting, that because being a doctor was a big title of some sort, and when you said you want to become a doctor, then it would seem very, just big and amazing. And I remember even when I was in high school, the very first time, a teacher entered class, went around asking everybody, what do you want? What do you want to be? What do you want to be? But I'm bringing this up because I want us to talk about what should inform my decision of a career, because I think there are so many reasons why we want to be whatever it is that we we want to be, and especially when we have that young mind. But then as we develop, we get into high school, we have a sense of identity, we kind of know what we are gifted in. What would you say are the things we need to put into consideration before choosing a career path?
I like that. I like that because we are formed at a very early age.
Yes.
From the time we're in primary school. And so you find that every top student, every A student is looking at a course to pursue also.
That's true.
They're looking at, becoming doctors. They're looking at doing medicine. They're looking at doing pharmacy. They're looking at doing architecture.
Yeah.
They're looking at those big courses. Why? Because they have it. They have it. And so that's where they have been ranked by life at that young age.
True.
They're already placed in that level. And so as we mature up and we move into high school, then you realize that those of us who start now to see other parts of us and realize that we are probably more talented than just in knowledge. And so you find that these students who are forever in the library, then there's a group that is playing both sides. They're in every outing when people are going for music festivals. They're in the bus forever, but they're equally performing well in class.
Yes.
Yeah. So it sort of now starts to set us, apart. And you see students who were now more inclined to doing the sciences are starting to draw away from that, because in high school there's really no much pressure like there is in primary school.
That's true.
You sort of now are just doing the lessons that you feel better in, because then again you want to be out and be in class at the same time. So that's when you realize that, yes, I wanted to become a doctor, but maybe I want now to become a lawyer. And probably that's where I found myself. So I moved now from, pursuing, becoming a doctor to now wanting to become a lawyer. What was informing that? Maybe it's because now I'm playing into fields. And so if then you're sacrificing one part of you to be just all about the brain and knowledge, there's a possibility that you'll end up doing medicine, but you'll have killed another side of you. And so exposing yourself helps you to find your landing. But unfortunately, and also for many others, that's not the course you also get to be selected to pursue.
That's true.
So for me, it moved not from law to doing BCom. So I ended up in business, finally. The system now. So there is a system.
Wow.
So there is a you when you're young. There are no limits. Then there is you as you grow. And try to find a balance in life. And then there is the system. So as per the system, I found myself in business. And so what I would say is that besides ourselves also choosing what we do, our parents also have an influence into it.
Yeah.
Because as much as I really wanted to change my course at that level, my dad was okay with it. So I felt like if dad is okay with it, then let's flow with it. So parents also influence big time into what we end up doing. So yeah, those are some of the issues that land us where we finally find ourselves. So it is ourselves, it is our parents, sometimes teachers.
Yeah.
Teachers also play a big part, because how the system placed me into also BCom was not my choice, but the teacher's choice. That while I was choosing law as my first choice, the teacher felt like, no, you can always change. Let's have BCom as your first choice. So there are many influences into what we end up becoming. But it is all good.
Yes.
Yes. Because God orders our steps at the end of the day.
True.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. And maybe now let's come to career growth, because that is basically forming the foundation of our conversation. Thank you for that very good foundation, even that you've given us regarding career and, getting to choose and what should be considered. So let's talk about career growth. What is it, and what's even the importance of having just that heart, or rather a vision and a purpose to grow in your career?
Growth is part of who we are. We are not created to stay in one place.
Yeah.
And we are supposed to bear fruit. We are meant to grow, to be of impact in the society, to influence in different spaces.
Yes.
And that is what drives us to want to grow. Unintentionally, maybe sometimes we don't even know, but deep down, there's a part of us that knows that we are created for much more. We are created to come here, to be of influence, to be of impact.
Yeah.
And so that's what drives us to want to grow. You don't even know. At such a young age, saying you want to become a doctor, what are you really even saying?
Yeah.
So career growth is part of who we are created to become.
Yeah.
It's part of nature, and so we have to obey it. And the lack of obedience into growth is what starts to kill us from within. Because yes, we are walking, we are moving, but deep down, there are parts of us that are not fulfilled. Because the soul knows who they're meant to become. The soul is aware of who you're created to become. And so if you're not growing, there's already war within yourself. There's a fight, there's a conflict within you. So that is why it is important for us to be very conscious, very intentional about growing. So what is the growth that we are talking about? This is what is shaped from school. So you have finally, made it.
Yeah.
You've gotten the grades that get you to pursue medicine, get you to pursue law, get you to pursue business. So what next? What next? So when it comes to growth in that level, we're looking at ourselves graduating. After the 4 years, growth in that level is for me to graduate, if possible, with a first-class honors. You get?
Yeah.
That's at that level, that's the highest level of growth. And so after graduation, you're also looking at getting a job, the best job there is, because that's how we are structured to grow, to have the best, to influence. And we know from within that for us to be of influence, then we have to be playing at a certain level. And so from graduation, you want to get a job. So yes, the market is competitive, but yes, you will land a job.
Yeah.
And you start off. So what does growth then look like at the level of employment?
Yeah.
At the level of, I've landed my first job, then what does career growth for me look like? So for many of us, and a majority of us, what we are talking about when we say growth, it's moving from one level to the next level. It's sort of, you're graduating from a lower level to a higher level, to a more senior level. So anytime you find yourself not growing to the next level, there will be again conflict within. There will be fighting within.
Yeah.
And you hear many people say that, I am stuck. I am stuck. What does that really mean? It means that they're trying to move to the next level, but they're not able to move to the next level. And yes, there are many ways to grow and to appreciate growth, but the basic and the common one, what a majority of us are looking at when we are graduating, is to get a job and to grow from one level to the next level.
Yes.
For those who have been in business, or who've done business, they're looking at becoming CEOs. When they're starting out, they're looking at becoming the next CEOs. They're looking at becoming the next directors. So that's what growth looks like when it comes to employment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I'm also thinking of the conversation that we just had even before we began this conversation, and just that in itself, career growth, it's a very nice statement. And I'm sure that most of the people even watching this morning and who have developed interest in this particular conversation, this is something they probably have been praying for, have been looking forward to. And it's one of those things that we all want to be associated with, career growth, that I was here, but in 5 years, this is what I did, and I've been able to move, so that even as I write my CV, it looks like there's a progression that is happening. But there's what you mentioned about the steps that we have to take in order to attain this dream, this vision, this target that we have. And maybe we can talk about that. How do I set myself up for a career growth?
So it's unfortunate that when we get into the workspace, or into the work environment, we have dreams. We have what we want to become in the next 5 years. It's a common question that when you're joining an organization, you'll be asked, where do you want to see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
That's true. That's true.
And we are quick to say that I want to be the next brand manager. I want to be the next marketing manager. I want to be the next sales manager. And what we fail to take account to is that just as we qualify for to pursue certain courses, so it is for employment. There's what we have to have attained for us to move to the next level. And that is one. So when you're starting out your career, you want to know that in the next 5 years, I want to be a manager. So one, what does it take to become a manager?
Yeah.
Do I need to have acquired my master's by then? If then that is a requirement, at the point where you're starting, you're planning, in the next 1 year, 2 years, I'm going back to school.
Yeah.
Because I need this paper for the next job, rather for the next level. Then it could be that the requirement is there's this key, performance, the KPIs that you must have attained for you to move to the next level.
Yes.
So you have to be very intentional. I have to work at this. These are the key 5 areas that I need to have succeeded in for me to move to the next level. Okay? Are there certain skills like managing people? It's one thing to be good at a job. It's another thing to work with people well.
Yeah.
It's a totally different ballgame. It's a totally different thing to have people report to you. Is there a need for you to grow skills in that space of managing people, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to inspire the team, knowing how to manage the team, So it's all upon us to sit and say, this is what is required for the next level. So I have to have gotten it right by the 5th year, so that when I'm asking for the next level, then I have perfected these areas. Because no one is going now to tell you that.
Yeah.
The marketplace is different from being in school.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we have to appreciate. In school, you'll be given the cluster which you need to qualify in for you to do medicine. Now, when you start working, no one is going to, teach you some of these things, And probably the next thing you want to look into in terms of your growth is the soft skills that no one will teach you about aligning to your boss's vision.
Right.
You get. Because then again, you can attain your 5 KPIs very well. You have perfected them by the 5th year. You have done so well, but you're not a fit to work under your boss. Those are things no one is going to tell you.
Yeah.
Because bosses are busy. They do not have time to also manage very difficult personalities. And it's not our wish that we are certain personalities. There are people who come as very calm personalities to manage. As a boss, your pick will be an easier personality that will not give you a headache. There are already too many targets. There are already so much. There's already so much expected of you to start dealing with a hard direct report. So bosses will look at working with the easier to work with employees. Those are the ones who get the promotions. Those are the ones that will move to the next. They're willing to train these ones than someone who is, you've done your 5, you're qualified, but you're hard to work with. It's not a place a boss wants to place themselves in. So it's important also, I have done my 5, but am I aligned to the vision of the boss and of my boss's boss and of my boss's boss's boss? It's a whole chain.
Yes.
So for me to get there, then I need to align. I need to align. And then if you are not also aligned to the culture of the organization, you might find yourself also out of place. So those are some of the things no one is going to teach you. But people will see from a distance that you're not a good fit for this organization. You're not the breed that we look for. So you have the right papers, you have your performance is perfect. You've aligned to your bosses, but still you're missing when it comes to what is the culture of the business. So there are many things to look, to consider when you're looking at growing to the next level.
Wow.
And probably the next thing we want to look at is then what happens to those now that have fulfilled everything and they're still there's a group that is probably saying, but I have done all that, but I have done all this, and I'm still stuck. Probably that's now a unique group, but for sure, the few things that I've touched, if you do those ones right, especially when it comes to aligning, you'll find yourself very far. Yeah.
That's really powerful. I feel like that in itself is a masterclass for those who are praying for promotion. To be like, there are things that I need to tick off first, even before I begin to think. But I think for me, one of my favorite that you've mentioned is just preparing that if I want to get to this place, then what am I doing in order to attain that particular thing? And I think there's something else that we mentioned, which I feel can also really play out perfectly in this whole conversation of career growth and some of the things that need to be considered. it's the area of experience. We mentioned something to do with maybe one deciding to switch completely to a whole different thing, and they decide that this is my way of growing in my career, so I'm not just doing one thing, I want to actually do something different. Maybe talk about why do we even have that written in our CVs, that you need to write down how much experience you have. Why do they want to know about my experience?
At some point, experience outweighs your papers, and then it's the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are times experience will run as a recruiter or as the boss who is recruiting a rundown into where has this person been working, what was their title, what was their roles, and most of the times I'm looking for a copy paste. Someone who's been doing the exact thing I want them to come do. Because we want people who land and run. You hit the ground running.
Yes.
There's no time. It's unfortunate, but the pace at which organizations run at, there's really no time to. Yes, we will train you, but let's train you already running. We want.
Yes.
Let's train you when you're already on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm explaining why it is important that we know what is the level of your experience.
Yes.
Because that really matters a lot. Your level of experience. There are things you have done within your 10 years of working experience that a person who is starting out has not yet even scratched the surface.
That's true.
You know how procurement processes run. You know how tenders are done. You know how for budget to be approved by finance, what you need to do.
Yes.
You know who is the right person. You know how organizations work. You pretty much have understood so much within 10 years. And so it's important if the recruiter is looking for that level of experience, there are things they're looking at. By now, you have understood that there's never anything personal when we are working. It's business.
Yeah.
You've learned to separate emotions from work. And so experience is very important. Yes, the papers and your qualification and your certificates give us the confidence that you're also not now just executing out of experience, but there are frameworks, and models that you're able to apply within your work.
Yeah.
So if you're moving to that to a different sector, then you have to look into what is your skill set and how do I transfer this skill set to this organization.
Right.
So I'm in media, I have to be moving into media within that organization.
Yeah.
But a totally different transition that can be very hard. But that's where most of us find ourselves. We have done 10 years in banking, and I want to move to FMCG. No recruiter will have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
Your system reads banking. When you're sleeping, you sleep banking. When you wake up, your lingo, everything about you
Banking.
banking. Yeah. Even your children. I've also joined, and your husband, everyone sings banking.
Yes.
Because that's what you have trained in and have grown into. So what is important, and this specifically now for those that are starting, you have to be very sure of where you want to grow yourself in. Because most of the times where you start is where you're going to end.
I like that.
Yes. You have started in IT. That's probably the area now you have to grow yourself into and get comfortable with it. If you have to move within the first 2 years. So make the decision early when you're starting. Change. Decide this is where I want to go.
Yeah.
And bite the bullet. For those who've done 10 years, you still want to change, you might want to also strategize differently. You probably want to look into going smaller.
Yeah.
Into smaller organizations and be of relevance there. You've grown from one level to the next level.
Yeah.
Leadership is leadership. Whether you're leading in a small business or you're leading in a big organization, you're leading. You're learning skills that you would not have otherwise learned in your, in a lower level. So for someone who is stuck for 10 years, for 7 years in the same position, and you want to change, this is a hard conversation you have to have with yourself. Yes.
Wow, those are powerful insights, Sharon. Very deep and powerful insights. And I think at this point, maybe we can just take a break, take a breather, because, I just need to download all this information. It's just a lot and it's good. It's really, really good. So let's chew on that a little bit. When we come back, we still have more on career growth.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
All right, we are back. And of course, we are having an amazing, amazing conversation, a sobering one, in fact, about career growth. And we have the beautiful Sharon with us. And, we were just having a conversation when we went on break, and that is on your real life experience, because kwa ground. Watu hutaka kujua mambo kwa ground, because even as you're speaking, maybe somebody is feeling like she must have gotten it from the word go. But maybe you can talk to us about how that journey has been and some of the lessons that you've actually learned over the years.
I'm one person who is very driven. Of course, yes, I had the dream of becoming CEO. I wanted to, grow to the highest level of what I had trained in. I told you that I did BCom and specialized in marketing. And so I started off in media, in advertising, a role that I think was very aligned with my personality. But after 10 years, I found myself in the same role, in the same organization. Was it a bad organization? No. Were there bad bosses? No. Was I a bad worker? No. So where is the problem? What was the problem? And I think this is the reality that a majority of us have to get.
Yeah.
That you're in control of your career. You're your boss. And you have to drive it to where you want it to go.
Yeah.
You have to say, in the next 5 years, this is where I want to be.
Yes.
In the next 10 years, this is where I want to be, and work at it with action. So at a personal level, and after sitting and evaluating, why is it that I was stuck for 10 years in the same level? Was I going for interviews for growth? Yes. Was I asking for that growth? Yes.
Praying about it.
Yes, and fasting.
Yes.
At 10, I had to call myself for a meeting. And I needed to check into the whys. Why why? This is not my plan. This is not within what I had projected myself to grow into. Yes, I'm happy, but deep down I know there's much more that I'm called to do. I've gone back, I've already done my master's, I'm performing well, you know. So what are those things that I discovered that were holding me back? And one, I would say I'd go back again to taking responsibility for your growth and being intentional about it. So I realized that I was so attached to media. I didn't want to let go. I'd become a part of it. It was me.
Yeah.
You know, so you get so attached to a brand that you almost became one thing, and now you're feeling like you're divorcing this brand. You don't want to, you know. You've been good friends with this brand. You want to stay with it for long. And so those are some of the mistakes that we will make and find ourselves stuck. Don't get attached. That's the second thing. Do what you have to do. Deliver. Let the business grow. Leave a legacy. And so after 10 years, I had that conversation with my boss. And it had hit really hard on me. I don't know how 10 years had gone. But it was, as I'm saying, it was so much fun. The work was good. Yes, the normal work environment has its own, you know, its own challenges. But the better part of it is that it's working. Then the next thing, I moved and had the same conversation with my boss and told her that I think I am done.
Wow.
I think I've given this organization every bit of me, and I'm happy about it. But it's time for me to move to the next level. And we had to say goodbyes, you know. It sounds nice now, but then it was not then.
I can only imagine.
It wasn't that easy. Having been in a place for 10 years, that's your home.
I know.
That's your second home.
Oof,
the people,
a long time.
you know, the friendship, the networks that you've built, they're so strong. And so, but I needed to bite the bullet. That point had to come. It had to come. That's how my growth started. And within those 3 years, I worked in consulting firms. I said one of the strategies you can do, and I was intentional, is go to smaller organizations. If it's not working, you know, the ideal situation is for you to move to media, to move to your dream organization. Move from media, go to Google, go to whoever. That's ideal. But that's not the reality on ground.
That's true.
If it works for someone, if a door opens for them, bless the Lord. You know, because miracles also do happen.
That's true.
But the reality on ground is that some of the things you have to, the sacrifices you have to make, have to touch on your salary, have to touch on your comfort zones. You know, you have to let go of your comfort. Get roughed up a bit, you know, get rubbing with life. You know, we don't want to, we do not want to leave our comfort zones because we are afraid of failing. We are afraid of, you know, letting go for something we do not know. But we want growth. Growth will not come in our comfort zones.
No.
It will not. It will not. And that's the reality of the matter. So within those 3 years, I'd moved from one level to the next level. By the third year, I was a head of department. Within 3 years, I grew faster than 10 years.
Wow.
You understand. And I can only thank God, yes. But also I must tell people that you have to take responsibility for your career.
Yeah.
You have to be intentional. Do not be attached to things.
Oh my, someone needed that.
Do not,
Someone needed that, yeah.
be attached to things.
Yeah.
They will enslave you. They will enslave you.
Yeah.
You know, when you're supposed to be growing, they will enslave you. So those are sacrifices that sometimes you have to make when you're really, really saying that I am really, really stuck. Then you also have to get rough, you know. When the going gets tough, you also have to toughen up.
Yeah, and get going.
And get going. So that's my personal story.
Yes.
And that's how I found myself into the growth that I was looking for in terms of moving from one level to the next level. I had to let go of things I was attached to, organizations and brands that I was attached to.
Yes.
To grow to the next level. Yes.
Wow, that personal story is just the icing on the cake for this whole conversation. I see time is far much spent and we have to wind up. But thank you so much for sharing that, your vulnerability to just open up about that. I believe somebody watching has probably been in that place, not sure what to do, what direction to take. But I believe with that, they sort of have the permission to prayerfully consider that and just take some time off to really come back and recalibrate and think really about where they want the next step to be. But even as we conclude, maybe I can give you a chance to give us your parting shot, that one last thing that you believe somebody needs to hear on this conversation.
Wow. In this life, there will be things that will come to tell us that we are not what we think we are.
Yeah.
We are not enough. And we will either believe them or we will step up to challenge them. And to not just to prove to those things that yes, we are who we say we are, but also to conquer those things. So one of the things that would stand on the way of a person or a viewer would be your career. When you're not growing in your career, it could be the thing that is telling you you're not what you always thought you are.
Yeah.
It could be your career. And the only way to face that giant of a career that is not growing is letting go of fear. You have to deal with fear. You have to deal with fear. You are afraid that when you leave the current job, you'll not be able to pay school fees. You have a mortgage that you're servicing. You have so many other bills that you're taking care of.
Yeah.
But then, if you want to conquer that giant, you have to go beyond and past your fears. The greatness you're seeing out here is not handed on silver platters. It is hard work.
Yeah.
By the end of it, you're going to win.
Amen.
You're going to win.
Yeah.
So you can either choose to get into the field and play, or sit comfortable and watch other people play.
Yeah.
Fall, hurt their knees, hurt their, get wounded, bloody and all that. And eventually see them with their crowns. Because it is assured.
Yeah.
Yes, they will fumble their way, but eventually you will see them at the top. That's when you'll be wanting now to start out. So the earlier the better. Make the decision now.
Ali.
Yes. Make the decision now. Make the mistakes. Growth is assured as long as you have to be in motion.
Absolutely.
You have to stay in motion.
Wow.
Yes.
That's really, really powerful, Sharon. That's really power-packed. And maybe you can let the people know how they can also connect with you, you know, if they would love just to follow up and see what Sharon is up to. Yes.
Much of what I speak about or content that I share on social media platforms,
yes,
and specifically on my LinkedIn, has to do a lot with purpose,
yeah,
leadership, and wellness. Because those are the things that I've learned along the journey of why was I not stepping up into these things. So I went into learning more about wellness and emotions.
Yeah.
How fear can actually just cripple you. So also within that space, I've also learned a lot in terms of leadership. And so those are some of the things that I share on my LinkedIn platform, Sharon Wandii.
Beautiful.
Yes, specifically, I'm very passionate about self-leadership. And that has a lot to do with you taking responsibility of your life. You leading yourself well before you can tell us that you want to lead us. We want to see how you're leading yourself. Because before you can tell us that you want to lead us, because leadership comes with a lot of responsibility. People are counting on you, people looking up to you. You're basically there to serve people. You will be inconvenienced. So, so those are some of the things that I share on LinkedIn. So, for viewers who want such content, they can follow me on LinkedIn as Sharon Wandii.
I need to follow you on LinkedIn. To start with, we need to connect. But this has been so power-packed. I mean, that statement of you are in control. You're holding that steering wheel and you can direct it whichever way you really want, you know, dependent on your goals and what you want to see happening. I think for me, that has to be my biggest takeaway. And I believe that even for our viewers, as we wrap up the year and usher in the new year, some of you will have to make tough decisions. Some of you, I have a feeling, will have kujita kamkutano, call yourself for a meeting, and don't operate out of fear, as Sharon has rightfully told us, and just make that decision and move to the next place. I believe 2025 can be different for you if only you actually take charge, and most importantly, as Sharon has mentioned, profoundly lead your own self. I love that. Thank you so much, Sharon. God bless you. This is ministry in itself, you can be sure, because as we said, God is a God of order. We are praying for promotion, but then there are things that we need to put in place so that we will be prepared and build the capacity for whatever thing that we are asking the Lord for. So thank you. God bless you so much.
Thank you so much, Beatrice.
Yes, and for our viewer, amen. And for our viewer, asanteni sana for tuning in. I hope this helps you in one way or the other to make that important decision that you need to make with pertaining to just your career growth, and make those decisions now so that as we usher in the new year, you start on a high note. You start already with the momentum going. So asanteni sana. My name is Beatrice Nudi, and of course, I wish you all a happy new year 2025.